playing? Are either of them options for tonight?
Yeah, Nate will play tonight. I don't think Val will be in tonight.
Gotcha.
Still no miss for him?
Yeah.
Oscar Laston got sent down. He played a little more this year than he did last year when he came out for a game. Just what did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. I really liked his play on the offensive side of it, like with the puck. I thought he was strong in the battles, competitive, good puck decisions, didn't have a bunch of turnovers or anything. I thought he took care of the puck, just made smart, safe decisions, made a couple nice plays. Got caught a couple times on the defensive side of it where he was not in the right spot or his awareness wasn't where he needed to be, but he's been working hard at that. He's made strides, no question. He's made strides over the last, he showed up in camp this year. He's put in some good work down there. He had a really good weekend last weekend down there from talking to our guys, and I thought he followed it up with a pretty good game here. But we got some guys back in the lineup now, so it's just like get them down there and get them playing. I don't want them sitting around.
Makar and Cogliano are guys coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
As I keep telling people every time we come to town about how you beat me up in training. I was a rookie in the Western.
Yeah, you were a young guy though. I was the old guy.
You weren't that much older. And then later that day, you pulled me aside and helped me out with a couple defensive things. I do remember that clearly, so I'm curious as to maybe some of the biggest lessons that you are talking about with your group as far as areas that you want to see this team growing the most.
Yeah, well, it's funny you ask that because we just had a big talk about that going into play LA. You know, I think I think that it can't always look the exact same, and I want our team to be mature enough as a group to sort of understand the way a game's going. If you don't have a ton of energy, if you're not executing the way you would normally like to execute, that I'd like our team to be able to recognize those situations and be safer with the puck, make a little bit more disciplined decisions with the puck that can lead us to, you know, just even if it's just getting on a forecheck instead of always, you know, looking for the home run play off the rush or what have you. It's really more about puck management for our team, that we're not just going to be get up and go executing at 100% every night to create scoring chances off the rush attack, and if we're not, it's going the other direction. If teams are checking us well in certain areas, that we identify that and sort of shift it to plan B, where we can create a better forecheck or sustain some time in the offensive zone and just sort of control the flow of the game. We talk about being able to be willing and able to win the 1-0 game if we need to, you know, so that we don't need to score 4 or 5 goals in order to win hockey games. We want to be able to do both. Certainly we'd like to score 4 or 5 goals a night, but if we can't, then we want to be able to lock it down and just be more of a responsible, mature group.
Jared, that sounds similar to what Rick Bowness has been preaching with the Jets, and they have been winning some low-scoring games. Jets are a team you've obviously seen plenty of over the years.
Yeah.
How different do they look to you maybe this season compared to seasons past?
Well, it doesn't surprise me now that you say that, because it looks like a really disciplined, structured team, you know. Like I look at some of their numbers. Their rush attack's been really good. Their rush coverage has been really good. You know, discipline at protecting the house in the defensive zone. It's all the things that coaches are going to key on, especially when you kind of get in. You watch your team play for a bit. You start making some adjustments, and then you really want, like we're at the point now where we really want to try and dial in our game so it's looking more and more consistent, right? So I think it's the maturity of their team, understanding where they're at, and once you figure out what it takes to win on any given night, just trying to hit that mark every night, and it looks like they're doing it, and they're getting great goaltending along with it, so it's going to give you a chance to win every night. Again, you don't have to necessarily fill the net in order to win in this league. You just got to be willing to stick with your game longer than your opponent.
I think it's 3 games for Sam Walensky now. How do you think he's adjusted to the pace of the game?
I think he's been playing really well. Yeah, he'll be in again tonight, and yeah, even with those guys coming back in, he's going to play, because I think he's been doing some good things on both sides of the puck. I just talked about it recently. He looks really calm and poised, and he's executing well. out of the D zone, in the neutral zone, offensive zone, chipping in a little bit. I like to see that part of his game even ramp up a little bit more to trust his instincts, but it's starting to come.
You said last week that Landon Scott would be here during the homestand. Is he in town yet, or?
I haven't seen him yet, no.
Coach, kind of on that, you've talked in the past about the leadership in this room is so strong because it felt like a lot of the messaging came from inside the room, didn't need to come from you guys.
Yeah.
I know you guys dealt with a lot of injuries last year, so the roster was fluctuating for most of the year. Settled in a bit here, do you feel like it's getting back to that where the guys in the room are owning the message, it's not having to come from the coaches?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think even at the start of the year, like, we have some guys that have been around me long enough that they know, you know, my expectations, our coaching staff's expectations, and I know how they operate as well. We've talked about that familiarity, so it's not like this is a big process to get it dialed in. We have a lot of strong leaders in there, and they all lead in their own specific way. You know, like Nate's different than Cogs, and Taser's different than both, and Cale, and so on. We're all trying to get to the same place and have our team playing, you know, 90% of our game or better every single night, and find that consistency so that we have a high standard. It's not always going to come together for you, but I do feel like the messaging from our team and coaching staff has been really consistent, and they take a lot of ownership in that. We give them a big voice in there, in meetings and even game planning if they see things, you know, like we're trying to be a family, and we feel like the bigger voice that the players have, the more they'll take ownership of it.
Couple last ones, Katie?
Firstly, Will Byram, we saw him leave the game, he's back out there, is he good to go tonight?
He is. Yeah.
Secondly, Georgia, 54 wins in his 83 starts. You're not a goalie coach, but you've obviously observed a lot of goaltenders throughout your coaching career. What have you seen from him since he's gotten here in terms of his confidence and his ownership of this #1 role?
Well, yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, when he came last year, he started well, then he fell into a little bit of a rut. And when he worked out of that rut and really sort of changed his mindset, that it was, I don't want to say that he was entitled to that spot, but it was something that he was going to continually work for and earn the net and sort of really strive to be a #1, doing it for the first time. Found the consistency in his game, and I'd say from that point on, he's been pretty even keel in the position for us. There's obviously ebbs and flows to everyone's game, but for me, you look at, if you went through all of his starts from the time he's been here, he gives you a chance to win on most nights, you know, and that's all you can ask for your starting goalie, is save the ones they're supposed to save, and pick up a couple extras would be nice, and he does that, you know, and so if we're able to capitalize enough on some other teams' mistakes and put enough goals in the net, we'll win hockey games. You know, he doesn't have very many bad nights, and that's one thing I like out of the starter. If he's the consistent sort of steady guy, and pushing to get better all the time and giving your team a chance to win, that's all you can ask for.
Mikko's gone 7 games without a goal. We don't see that very often. Is there any difference you're seeing in his game, or is it just that the shots aren't going in?
No, there's differences. There's always differences. I think it's not like he's racking up, 6 to 8 scoring chances a night right now. We have specific things that we've talked about as to why. And there's been some fluctuations in the lineup a little bit, but he was pretty steady on Mac's line there for a bit. We did go through a little bit of a rut where I didn't think we were creating enough chances, but I liked his game the other night in certain areas, and certainly got really dangerous on the power play and missed his mark a couple times. So I expect him to have a better game tonight, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep. Thanks.
Please, Coach.